What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Archill podcast. Today I'm joined with Mirian Khomeriki, Head of Engineering at Clientela. Over the years, Mirian has occupied different project management positions at various companies. Besides managing engineers, he's an active educator. He constantly gives lectures and mentors young entrepreneurs. As you know, project management is a super essential part of software engineering nowadays. And that's why I'm super excited about this episode. And now, without further ado, here it is my conversation about project management with Mirian Khomeriki. Enjoy. Yeah, and like before we dive into our conversation, let me tell this funny story what happened to us. So basically, I met Miriam about 5 years ago, I guess, at some hackathon, and he was just mentoring us teams. And I've never met him since then until we met each other at a wedding. And it turned out that we are pretty closely related, and he knows my father, I know his father, and it was kind of very funny meeting there. And I immediately thought that when life kind of sends you this tech geek relative, you'd better invite him to your podcast. So that's exactly what I did. And thanks for joining and being here.
Yeah, thanks for invitation.
Great. Okay, let me start with my first question, which will be a very broad question. So, what makes a successful digital product? What do you think?
Uh, hmm. Great question with lots of layers, and it depends how long answer you want.
You can start.
Yeah. So great product. So if we look at all the accelerators, for example, or the like. Jury who is trying to give some scores to the startups or the products and somehow try to, or the investors who are trying to somehow predict if the product will be successful or not, is definitely, there are some couple of keywords. So one is the product market fit that can so it is, so sometimes like lots of products are aiming the product market fit. It's, you're not starting with it. So there is of course what we should be aiming for, and there is the team. So what makes great product? The team makes, of course. Great product is created by the team. And who should be in the team? In the team should be the people who can build it, and who so there is two part of the product, what and how, right? So when I'm trying to, okay, so this will be long answer. Now I realize that this will be a long answer. So when oh, I have so I'm from the how side, because I'm the head of the engineering in the company, and I was always working from the that side. So that's my main competence, working on how. Like the product should be built and team how should be managed to like unlock all their potential and everything. And there is a what also. So what is more the ideation process, and in which field we are going, or like more like a business side of it. When we are talking about the business side, let's remember that, like, of course, because I'm how person, like I believe in idea, of course, but I think the execution is the big part of it. So in my so I'm a lecturer also. So sometimes I'm giving some of my lectures and mentoring people and doing some stuff, that kind of stuff, and educational stuff. So I have there one slide with lots of logos, and basically those logos are from the social media companies, the old ones, and asking people who can recognize those logos and which logos can be recognized, and people recognize a couple of them, like MySpace, for example. Do you remember MySpace? Are you that old?
I,
Okay.
no, I'm not that old. I just know that there existed something
Okay.
called
Yeah.
MySpace.
And there was a high five, Pixocom, maybe. So like that kind of and that's it. But there are like lots of logos there, and yeah, so they just recognize the listeners, the participants of the training. That you can recognize three or four, like maybe the Friendster. There was one, like I think it still operates in Brazil or something like that. But all of them, most of them, majority of them failed. But all of them had the same um, idea as Facebook has currently, and it was before Facebook. All those companies were founded and had the similar idea as Facebook had, and we can see lots of examples of that kind of products in the world, in the digital world. So that's the one. So idea matters, but execution matters. But what is execution? Like what we are when we say execution, what it means. So execution is, of course, the how code is written and how good design is. But in execution, we can talk about like if we have like created MVP in the beginning, for example. Have we did we like spend a lot of time developing the thing that is not really like our product, or did we wait it for too long, or have we I don't know, like that kind of stuff. So MVP matters also. So you need to and what matters is the final customers, right? So you need to create something as soon as possible. You need to show it to the final customers, get the feedback, and then continue developing your product. In that case, you are creating the product that customer wants, and you're not creating it from your points of views, or yeah, that can be very yeah. In most cases, it's something that is happening in my head is not what customer wants. So that's things to consider. Like it's very broad, and I am sure that I could answer it like a little bit in shorter sentence, but lots of things matter. And yeah, like we
Yep.
can dive into it like a little bit
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
want. Yeah,
Okay,
you lead.
perfect. So,
Yeah.
yeah, great. Uh, actually, I think you provided pretty detailed description, as long as it's possible in kind of some time range for sure. And
Mm.
now I want to slightly kind of pivot to this kind of primary background. You have this project management background, and
Mm.
talk a bit about that. So
Yeah.
in Georgia, we have this famous dish called khachapuri, and there is this joke around that there are as many khachapuri recipes
Mhm.
as there are people who bake it. So with that metaphor, I want to ask you, what is agile to you?
Agile, great question. So agile. So what is agile? Why agile is solving our problems? Like so when agile arrived into Georgia, so I was one of the enthusiasts and evangelists of the agile methodologies and Scrum, and yeah, I was like going and pitching a Scrum is great. But how we arrived there? So why it is solving our problems? So let's say like before agile and like split the era before agile and after agile. So let's talk a little bit about challenges that we had or have with waterfall methodology, right? So the counterpart of the agile is waterfall methodology, and So when project is usually so in that period I was working in the digital creative agency Livingstone. Am I supposed, can I say the names, like the of the company?
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I was leading mobile application development team, and every agency, every studio has that problem, that is change requests. But before change requests, it is um, estimation part too. So you need to somehow give the client estimate of the whole project, and then also you so that requires that you need to think about all the project in whole picture and go into the very details and somehow be able to estimate it. And like it was happening in 2015, I think. So like it was quite um like early stages in Georgian digital field, and the companies that were so our clients usually, they did not have any digital team, and they were just coming to the agencies and asking for advices and the product, and wanted to know the price and when it will be delivered. So for that, you need to came up with the scope, then estimate it, and your budget is created based on that. So how many man hours you need, and like will it be 2 months or 6 months? And that was the very long process. Like sitting down with the client and going through every detail, then creating the comprehensive designs like UI design, and every stage you were like, is it, is that what you want? And then they are like, yes, this is what I want, and then you are continuing the process. But like as far as you go, like when so, so it was always changing, the requirements were always changing, and sometimes even the estimation that we were doing was not accurate because of the few reasons, because it was scope was too big to think about it. Sometimes there is room for interpretation, because you can't talk about everything, and you think you understood the assignment, and with your interpretation, and client has their own interpretation, or maybe they don't have it at all. So and when they see it, it's so in like earlier they recognize it the better, but sometimes they see and they are giving you the change request after development is done. So it's not because the clients are bad or the project manager is like is not doing their it's because of the process. So, and also when the project is too long, for example, and like usually, so you are software developer, right? Yeah. So we cannot
Yeah.
estimate, but I don't remember the project like that is smaller than that was shorter than, I don't know, like 4 months for mobile applications. For mobile applications it was like 4 months, and even if we will exclude the planning and the designing process from it could be like quite a yeah. So uh, in that cases, in 4 months, lots of things can change. Like business requirements are changing, business situation is changing. Maybe some new, your competitor is doing something else, and then you like see that, and you want to do that, or I don't know, like lots of things can change. So that's and that is what's happening. That's not yeah, like it is reality. Things is changing, and it is very hard to scope that like big project, like 6 months project to write down everything and get the confirmation on everything, is yeah, like too much of work. I'm very documentation oriented guy. So project management means documentation, and means, so they are tools, your arsenal, and you are using it to prevent like risks and management risks, stakeholder management, expectations management, etc. So those are great, but documentations are not solving all your problems. And when I had those thoughts, then I don't know, like somewhere I saw that like videos of the Scrum, and like it was like agile methodology, and I was very, very like um yeah, interested, because I was like, agile, like I know agile, like flex, like see person, I don't know, like how does it make it, is it making splits, or like how it is agile like the methodology, how methodology can be agile. Then when I dived into it, the solution was very simple, like create smaller projects, like if you can go with the yeah, like create. So to go to agile, let me like introduce the incremental development. So before this MVP kind of development, there was incremental development, that was like splitting whole work into the little pieces, and that was incremental development approach. That like for the agency, that's what agency can do. So yeah, like unless client is creating MVPs and then upgrading it, as startups are doing usually. So there is incremental approach. That means that, so for example, if you are developing a car, it means that you will create like the wheel first, for example, and show it to the customer and ask, do you like this wheel? But the wheel is the same wheel that the final product should have, like that wheel with all its like beauty and everything. And after that, you are creating like I don't know, like other parts of the car. I'm not very good in cars. Yeah, so but
Actually,
in
I'm
MVP
very bad
approach, you are
too. Yeah,
yeah.
I can
So
help
let's
you in
limit
that.
our
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
car. Yeah, I don't know, like car spoiler. I don't know, like windows and doors. You are creating and then it is in the end of the project. Then it is a full car. But that makes sense. And I was like, that makes sense, and I can definitely um like scope creating a wheel. It is like much easier than like estimating of creating of the car. And yeah, like I will just estimate the creating wheel, and then I can see where it will take us. But client does not want wheel, like client needs whole car, right? So but like in so client needs so client does not need the car usually, if it's a very specific requirement. If we are talking about digital product, that client need to go from like point A to point B with so that's the requirement. So the requirement is to get from point A to point B. So then you are not thinking about creating the wheel for the car. And then where the agile approach comes, MVP approach comes in, and that is teaching us to not create a wheel, create I don't know, bicycle or skateboard. So that will take you with the less effort, with more yeah, it will more comfort. I don't know, it will be comfort, but it will take you from the point A to point B a lot faster than walking by foot. And then you can enhance it. then you are adding some bigger wheels, and you are going into the next step, that will be bicycle. Then you are adding the engine, and bicycle becomes the motorcycle. Then you are giving the four wheels, and then it is becoming the car. So that's the point. But there are some challenges, of course. So going with the MVP approach is not cheaper. Like it is like you are all the time. So scooter is not or the skateboard is not reusable for the car. So you cannot reuse the wheels of the. But yeah, that's something that we can speak after if you want. But yeah, like it's basically the approach. When you are going with the MVP, just do it faster. So there is a there is a quote in Y Combinator where they are pitching. So usually when you are trying to evaluate startups, one of the main thing is that startups should be scalable. But so I heard the term that build products that is not scalable, and I'm like, what? Like I was like I was thinking about startups in that way, that they are, but idea should be scalable, not the code itself. Like there
Yeah, it's
are
like do
lots
things
of
that don't scale, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly, yeah. So yeah, like I was like, oh, that does not make sense, but it does. So it yeah. So and there are lots of great examples of it. Like if you look at but the idea should be like as we said, idea should be scalable, but not the code itself. So for example, Facebook. So one of this Y Combinator guys, like he usually uh, tries to tell the stories about that. So there was one story when, so in the old era, there was the servers. There was no cloud services, so there was this servers where you could go, and if something was not working, you need to shut down and restart it manually. So yeah, this is the story that he says that once he went to that um, facility, and so he saw the servers with the university name on it. So he was like, maybe some new university software is here. And when he went the second time, he saw the other university, with the labels of the other, like there was the Stanford, then some new universities, Columbia University appeared, and then he found out that those were the Facebook servers, and that. So what this means is that Facebook, and in the beginning, Facebook domain was like the name of the university dot facebook.com, for example, like Columbia University dot facebook.com. And so those servers, the soft was created only for universities, and what they were doing is that they were buying the new servers for the new separate, like they were not connected with anything. So there was a Harvard student and there was the Stanford student, and who could not interact with each other. So they were building the whole system like separately, and then they rebuilt it. There is example about Airbnb too. So Airbnb created mobile application based on so when they created web, that's the separate story, but then they created mobile application. It was based on React Native, and then they like cross platform. You know what React Native is. So
Yeah.
then they looked at it and they said that okay, it's not, so it was very early time, so it was not working for them too much, and then they rebuilt it and built it on the new platform. So like on the native applications, so using the Java and Swift. So that's the stories. Idea should be scalable, not the code. You can rewrite the code. It will take some more money and more time, more resources, but yeah. So
Yeah,
getting approval of the concept is more valuable, and like giving you the feedback that okay, you are going on the right direction, unless you will go this like 600 degrees wrong direction, and then it will be too late because you will be like way somewhere else. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, Miriam, it's like fascinating how passionately and with how big enthusiasm you're explaining things. So I just could not stop listening. So it was amazing. Okay, let me
Yeah.
go to the next question. And for some reason today I decided to be the day of metaphors. And let me bring another metaphor in our
Go ahead.
conversation. So I would love to talk about the dark side of the moon, but obviously not the moon itself, not the Pink Floyd, but I want to use this metaphor to describe project managers from software engineers' perspective. So I'm a software engineer, and I know
Okay.
what project managers are doing in terms, as long as they interact with me. So, but I have no idea, and there is this dark side of project managers for me. What are they doing other than keeping some conversations and interactions with software engineers? So can you walk me through what do you do? I mean, in terms of planning, in terms of this stakeholder communication, like
Mhm.
everything else. Can you walk me through that process?
Sure. Great question. So what we do, we we pretend that we are very busy, and then you do all the job that okay, I'm joking. There is a lot of things to do, so let's separate, so we can talk generally on uh, project manager or judgment and their roles, or we can split them into the like, so the project manager in agency is has little bit different role than project manager in the corporation or in startup. In startup, project manager became, or in our cases, for example, you can see in the banking system there are the project managers transformed into the product owners. um, and yeah, so it is like cousin role, but it's still different. But yeah, let's start talking about generally project managers, and then we can talk about the differences if you want. So what are project managers doing? So project manager or the product owner, like that role, that is is so what they need to do is they should be value maximizer. That means that like in product owners perspective, they are the people, main business people, so they are the ones who are doing this prioritization. In project managers case, they are talking with stakeholders, business stakeholders, and then trying to like communicate back to the developers. But the like what they have in common is that in the end, in both cases, we need prioritize the backlog. That means, so whatever you are working on, it should have the highest priority in the list. And how we can, okay, like I'm still going into the very details. So prioritize backlogs for the developers. That means that if we are spending someone's time and resources, we need to make sure that it is spent well and it is spent on the highest priority tickets. So this is the one. second, and about prioritization, how it is done, we can talk afterwards if you want, unless it will take us too far once again. So
Okay.
second part is scoping. So when you are giving someone ticket or job to do, project manager's main skill in that case should be like explaining everything clearly. And so when you create, for example, Jira ticket, or you are, I don't know, like using any kind of tool or Google document, I don't know, like that's project manager's choice. But whatever you are giving the developer should be able to uh, see very clear instructions what you want to do, not the instructions like code wise, but the outcome. So what you need want uh, from them, and plus on that we need to somehow communicate the way that there is no room for interpretations are our enemy. So no room for interpretations. um, yeah. So in that case, what we can do to make things clear is that if there is also designer involved, you can like attach those UI screens and etc. So there are lots of tools that project manager can use to make everything clear, and we can dive into that also afterwards. Um, Next step is, so now we were talking about developers, and so let's describe project. Usually they are described as the middleman between like tech people and the business people. So now let's talk about the business people, those stakeholders. So usually when we are talking about stakeholders, we are talking about the people who are paying for it, or the ones who are, so in agency, in Star Studio case, the main stakeholder is the company who is paying you money for the
Client,
clients.
right? Yeah.
uh, yeah, yeah. So in corporation case, there can be like department head, or maybe marketing department is needs some new soft, and you are working on that, like enhancing the current one or integrating some email service provider tool, the new one. Yeah, it was very specific. I worked on that like recently, so I was like yeah. So yeah, so stakeholders can be are the people from whom the this ideation is coming and request. But stakeholders are not limited to, so stakeholders can be, so most important are those stakeholders, but also stakeholders can be the people who, like any person who is interested into your product. And there also can be negative stakeholders. So for like, I don't know, there can be a case that when in someone's interest is this tool to be not developed, like for example, we are doing some automatization and someone will lose a job because of it, because like AI will do it, or I don't know, like that kind of, not AI, but yeah, like um, but yeah. So that's also thing, and we need to keep stakeholders satisfied and informed. So there can be different kind of stakeholders. So some of them are the ones who can take the decisions. So we need to communicate with them, get the decisions from them. And in the beginning, so the first phase is to identify real stakeholders. Sometimes even stakeholders are not, like it's not clear who the real stakeholder is. So sometimes someone is speaking with you, you think he or she is the main stakeholder, and it appears that someone else is the. So yeah, like if if business situation is giving project manager that ability, you need to cut the middlemen where it's possible and go directly to the decision makers. Or so stakeholder management can have this expectations management, and of course the gathering the requirements is the key. So the requirements that we are writing and creating these user stories, epics, features for developers are coming from someone, are coming from end users or the stakeholders who are our clients basically. In product owners case, in startup for example, and if the startup is end user faced, B2C kind of startup, that then end users are the main stakeholders and you need to keep them satisfied, and the requirements are coming from the analytics tool or the user interviews or basically those two, or from the competitors new features. I don't know, competitors are also stakeholders in some case. So yeah, that's the main things. And also project manager is doing sometimes budgeting and doing the the project plan, creates timeline, creates manages pipelines, like if it's agency, like developers, if developer is working on a team that you consider for the new project is working on a current project, you need to put them somewhere in the pipeline and then communicate to the end your client when project can be started, therefore when it can be when which phase will be ended. um, in some cases, in agencies, sometimes project managers are kind of sales points too, usually there are no customer success teams in many studios or agencies, and it is handled from the project managers. Lots of things, I don't know, project
Okay.
managers are the very
Okay.
very very busy people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And what about stress? I mean, I clearly know, for example, what kind of
Very
stress
stressful.
situation. Yeah, and what kind of stress situations do project managers get uh, in?
Hmm. Great question. Yeah. I like when developers are thinking about project managers being stressed, because part
Yeah,
of
sure.
the project managers so responsibility. Responsibility is the main thing that project manager is you are paid because you are taking whole responsibility of whole project, and then comes those the that parts that we were talking about, like the stakeholder management and process management. You are doing those everything because you have responsibility for to deliver the product that you discussed with the client in the beginning. So so because you have responsibility, you project manager has a responsibility, and he's not doing the actual coding, right? So for me, before I joined in 2015, before I joined digital field, I was doing like traditional project management, like of educational processes, of I don't know, in banking, in uh, non-governmental sector, in governmental sector too. So I was doing lots of project management, but not the it was not digital. I don't know, 9 years ago, there was that kind of period. PC, I have my own PC, and so before digital and BD, AD. Yeah. So
I love that. I will take
uh,
it.
Okay. So and in that case, when I don't know, so you could in traditional project management sometimes you are able to roll up your sleeves, and if something like timeline is too short and uh you like and you have all the responsibilities, you can also roll up the sleeves and join the force and do some stuff. I don't know, like, so the, uh, there are some yeah, so some process that you can also speed up. But in digital products, project managers, yeah, they don't code usually, so they are not the developers, and they cannot do anything unless, please, like, can you work overtime, or yeah, like, ask them. And when that kind when is that kind of situation appearing, this is when there is a poor planning, or stakeholders are not managed well, so they have the, like, there is a scope creep, or there is a, the timeline was not created based on the developers estimations, or that maybe developers worked a little bit longer than, but uh, yeah, like, it's almost never developers fault. Let's, yeah, it's more like process. I'm kind of project manager who thinks that mostly it's a process, and yeah, you cannot blame someone else. Like, it's first you think about what you could have done better. So yeah, usually it's, or scope creep, like, means that scope increased. This is because there was no communication in the beginning on the level that it should have been, or yeah, or you did not communicate it that every time the scope increases, time will also increase, because all the so basics of the project management starts with the triangle that is saying you, telling you that there are three constraints. Every project has constraints. There is a time, there is a budget, there is a scope. So if one increases, you need to sacrifice another, or sacrifice. So if for example, scope increases, you need to sacrifice time, so it means that you need to work a little bit longer, and also the budget is increasing. If you want like shorter time, for example, that it means that budget budget will increase, maybe. So, but you also cannot uh, give a birth to a child with the 9 women in 1 month. There is that kind of thing, you know.
I love that example as well.
Yeah, so, like, I can add like three more developers, for example, to the project, but it does not mean that it will be like 2 times faster. Yeah, like, if there was a three developer already assigned to the project, and now we have six, yeah, it's not making time half. It
Yeah,
can decrease time like with 10% or 20%, maybe. I don't know. That's also to something to think about. Yeah, so that's the case. And stress, of course, there is a stress, because you are responsible for the thing that uh, someone else is doing. Yeah, so
yeah,
and the only thing, and they are paying for your mistakes. That's kind of stress, that you did poor scoping, or you wanted to make. There's also one thing, that you wanted to make client feel good in that point. Like, sometimes you, a project manager, when is trying to get detailed information, like, sees that client is struggling, like, it's he never thought about functionalities, and he does not have any time for this training. I'm usually like doing training for the customers, like, like, now when you're starting projects, now, like, they are becoming one of my students, and I'm like teaching them the agile methodologies and showing the like little going through the products and searching for references together and everything. So when client is that kind of collaborative, then things are going a little bit more smoother. But in other cases, you just see that client is struggling and you want to release them from the struggle, and then always it is coming back to you, and some
So it's
scoping
pretty
releases or
stressful.
something
Yeah,
bad is happening.
it's
It
really,
is,
really
yeah.
stressful. Yeah.
I think it's most stressful like profession in digital field.
Yeah. Actually, I think I would agree.
From my point of view.
Yeah, because like the best project managers and best leaders I had as a software engineer were people who never brought stress to us, to engineering team. And I think it
Mm-hmm.
requires to absorb a lot of stress yourself, not to kind of bring it to
Yeah.
engineering team. So kudos to
Mm-hmm.
you guys. You're doing an amazing job. Okay,
Thank you.
now
Yeah, you're
can
like
we?
shielding,
Yeah, yeah,
emotional
exactly,
shield. I like,
exactly.
yeah,
And
I like.
can we now talk about you as a head of engineering at Clientela? So, what do you
Sure.
do as head of engineering?
So, what I do as a head of engineering, yeah. So basically, my main, so I act as a agile coach, kinda. So, I'm a more of a process guy, also managing the resources. I oversee, and so let's start with the like previous point. I am responsible for all the like deliverables and all the things that are related. So yeah, like I need to remove all the impediments from the developers side. I need to keep like everything updated, priorities updated. Of course, like there is a, if you look, there is a document kind of RAC matrix. That means that someone is responsible, someone is accountable, and yeah, then there are the, so in my case, everything that is related to the development, I am responsible or accountable for it. So like main responsibilities for me, like priorities coming from CS team, the business team usually, but I am the one who should conduct the meeting with them and communicate the like try to I'm trying to, so like let's go how prioritization is done. So one is the priorities, as we said. So priorities need to be there in place. Developers should not have any impediments in their way. That means that they uh, they are able to like show all their potential, what they have, and this kind of managerial stuff. So maybe like, so yeah, that all the things that it can include that process. And there are also the integrations that is happening with the client. Sometimes I'm speaking with the new clients when integration or too technical stuff is going on. So I'm joining that kind of calls too. But mostly, like to describe it with the one sentence, I am responsible for every development that is happening in the company.
In
Yeah.
the team. Okay, great. And I also want to ask, so the best leaders and managers I've met were the people
Mhm.
who were extremely good at human engineering. So people who always
Hmm.
find correct words, always try to motivate you correctly with, and even like in critical situations when me as an employer was very lost and like kind of confused.
Mm-hmm.
Good leader and manager always manage to kind of motivate me and put me back on rails.
Yeah.
So how do you do this human engineering and deal with maybe critical situations in terms of the social and human way?
Yeah. So my style, so like there is no one receipt for it. Like it's um, so every project manager can have their own way. So what makes me like is I think that people like the developers kind of like working with me because I have the empathy. Like good project managers
I love you
should.
said that. I love you said that. Really, really, because I can relate a
Yeah,
lot to
like
empathy. Yeah.
yeah. So you need to somehow feel what. Yeah. So it's I'm trying to not go into the like how good I am kind of, but find the words that won't be that cocky and oh, I'm so good in the humor engineering. But let's speak generally. So what makes good manager on the yeah like on that side, on the human relation side, is that let's start with the um, events. There are kind of events that help you with that. It is like kind of tools that can help you to uh, make the better situations in the company. For example, today before this call, I had the retrospective. Like I'm not doing the orthodox Scrum, but I'm doing like it's not after every sprint, but it is after every month. So after every month, I'm doing in the end, in the begin. Yeah. So we did today the retrospective of the previous week, previous months, and what we did is that. So I have four boxes. I'm doing it with a Miro board because everything is remote in my, and Miro is has the great domain. So because of that, so yeah, so it has like four boxes. One is what we liked. Second one is what like we did not like. Third one is any ideas, and fourth one is kudos, thank yous. Uh, so in the beginning, and if you look at it, it is quite positive thing because from these four boxes, three of them are positive, like liked, ideas, and kudos. Um, and yeah, and what we did not like is also very informative and yeah, like great books. So like to pay attention to. So when you do that kind of stuff, so this is an event that was created like because based on that psychological things, I guess, but it is also giving you great insights. And in that case, developers are hurt. Like, let's say, like you are not only. So what you need to do is that give. So yeah, like great point. Uh, Commitment. So when is staff taking commitment is when they feel that product, they are not just the hired one who is just doing the job. You are heard, you are part of the team, and yeah, like if you say something and there will be, you if you will have idea, I will try to act on it. I will discuss it with you. If it's a really good idea, then I will be your advocate to implement that thing in the future. So that's to say like what we liked is a very positive, and the thank yous we included it recently, and is most active part of the, like, people are giving thank yous to each other. And like I have like I don't know, like for everyone, usually, like today I thanked everyone like separately. For some reason, I don't know, like it's not always the case, but for some reason today was a thank you for that and thank you for this. And
So it was a thank you
yeah,
day.
so yeah, today was thank you day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and also ideas are the best part, most valuable part of the retrospective, because yeah, like we have implemented couple of things, like some of them may find so there was one tool that we implemented for the pen testing that is really good, because we had our client, after we developed the software, then our client did the penetration testing and they found some backdoor kind of issues. And we were like, oh no, how it happened to us. But now we have that tool, and it is it is helping us to not be embarrassed at all, and that happens to everyone, to the best of us. So yeah, that's
Yep.
yeah. So they need to be. And to wrap up, like I use the retrospective because to like to say what is important. Important is to like communicate with them, give everyone feedback, like good one and bad one, and giving the feedbacks has also its own um, like way. Like every person has its own way communicating that. But if you have that kind of relationship with developer, or the kind of like technique of speaking, maybe, that you can say some things that they can consider without affecting their ego, sometimes that can be like also the good skill. And yeah, and caring, you need to care about them. It's like a big family, like the company where you work is the those people are the ones who are like I'm like do you like the Teenage Ninja Turtles? So
Yeah.
yeah, so they are like different kind of turtles. Like everyone has its own mm, like abilities. One of them is leader, another is like, I don't know, the strong guy, the third one is geek, and the one is, I don't know, this nunchagas, whatever his like uniqueness is. So yeah, but all of them are different, but together they make the team, and they fight like the most vicious villains. And yeah, so teams should know that they are different. All of them have like their own abilities and strengths and weaknesses, and but together you are team, and you are going to the yeah, like same goal. You have same goal in the end. Yeah, so
Yep. Great. Actually, I think it's been already an hour us talking. So, to get to our final point, I guess I would like to thank you for this inspiring and passionate kind of discussion. And like you mentioned
okay.
this caring, and I think you are the person who genuinely cares about others, especially your kind of maybe close people. So I felt it actually like during this wedding when we were talking, this shining and passion and genuine willing of you caring about others was kind of noticeable. And thank you for that. Keep going like that, and wish you all the best in your life, in your career, and everywhere else. Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me time. And yeah, yeah, definitely great point. And wish you success with your,
Thank
because
you.
yeah, like doing this is also caring about others.
Yeah, thanks.